Hello, everybody. Welcome to this YouTube live. Give me just a moment here as I'm getting the technology all properly coordinated. There we go. Okay, wonderful. Welcome, welcome. I am Jocelyn Starfeather. I am here to share with you about this incredibly powerful new moon in Scorpio that we're going to have on November 13th, and I can't wait to share this with you. So let me put the chart of this new moon up on the screen here so you can see all the power and all the magic that's going to be here. Now, I want to first say we've had a very intense month of October. And I'm recording this now on November 3rd. So we've just emerged from October with the two eclipses on October 14th and 28th. And those were really massive eclipses that created a lot of changes, a lot of shakeups in our lives and in the world. So I want to honor that. And I want to really, bring that into our awareness as a foundation for this conversation that we're going to have about the new moon in Scorpio happening on November 13th, because this will be our first new or full moon that is not an eclipse after this time period of being in the eclipse portal. And so this is a really important one. This is part of what's going to help us establish the foundation of how are our lives now after we came through that eclipse portal. The eclipse portal being from October 14th to October 28th between the two eclipses. So we're asking that question. I think all of us collectively is what is the state of the world now that these changes have rolled through in October, and how are we going to respond? What are we going to do in our lives personally? What are we going to be doing collectively as a community of humanity about what's going on in the world right now? And these are really important, critical questions for us to be asking. And this new moon in Scorpio is coming in to help us with all of that. So I want to say, first of all, you can notice here that the sun and moon are at 20 degrees of Scorpio. This will be at 4:27 a.m. Eastern time, or New York time, on Monday, November 13th. And in the days leading up to this, there's something really important happening with Venus that I just want to mention. So you can see in this chart that Venus is at 5 degrees of Libra. And Venus in Libra is a very powerful, positive, feminine influence on everything that is happening here. Okay. Venus is very, very happy in Libra. She's in the sign of her rulership in Libra, and she's bringing a really powerful energy in of harmonics and balance in a new and different way, because we've been through so much with Venus this year, with her going retrograde in Leo throughout most of July and August. Right. And so now she's new, we're new, we've all been rebirthed through that Venus retrograde process. It's really important to look back and see what happened for you from July 22nd to September 4th when Venus was retrograde. But now she's moving into Libra. Now she's moving into this really beautiful, comfortable position. And the moon is going to come and conjunct with Venus. They'll be at 1 degree of Libra at that time on November 9th, early in the day, Eastern time. On November 9th. So that is part of the energy leading into this eclipse. And that's important to note because this eclipse has a really strong masculine energy with the presence of Mars. But what I want to point out is that there's a very strong feminine influence as well that's going to be holding space and balancing. Not only because Venus is very strong here and the moon came to Venus just before moving into this new moon stage, but also because we have two goddesses here on either side of the new moon, okay, on either side of the sun and moon. One is Black Moon Lilith, the asteroid. I'm sorry, I should say not Black Moon. This is the asteroid Lilith here at 7 degrees of Scorpio, representing the revolutionary, rebellious feminine who will not put up with the lies and the rules and the regulations that have been handed to her. She will not accept them, and she is here to find a new way, okay? But with a feminine energy based on feminine principles. And on the other side here at 24 degrees of Scorpio, so quite closely conjunct to Mars, which I'll talk about Mars soon here, when I'm talking about the feminine first, is Ceres. Okay, this is the goddess Ceres. This is the same as the goddess Demeter in the Greek mythology. If you know the story of Demeter and her daughter Persephone, and Persephone either being captured or running off to be with Hades in the underworld, depending on which version of the story that you hear. Ceres is the Earth Mother. Okay, she is the mother goddess. She is the powerful being who rules the changing of seasons and the continual cycle of life and death and rebirth that we are always reenacting, that everything in nature is always reenacting. So if we look at the changing of the seasons, right now in the Northern Hemisphere, we're moving through autumn, right? So we're seeing things dying around us. We're seeing the leaves falling off the trees. We're seeing animals go into hibernation, etc. In the Southern Hemisphere, you are in spring. So you're seeing everything coming back to life. These are the cycles and seasons that this Earth Mother Goddess Ceres or Demeter rules. So the earth is very present with us here, and these cycles of life, death, and rebirth are very present with us here for this new moon. Okay, so let's talk about the new moon itself. The new moon, the sun and moon together at 20 degrees of Scorpio. This is happening in the sign of Scorpio, and there's a lot of energy in Scorpio here. We have the asteroid Lilith, the sun and moon, Mars, and Ceres all piled up here in Scorpio. So let's talk about Scorpio. What does Scorpio represent? So Scorpio represents a lot that has been hidden away from us in our modern westernized world. Scorpio represents the magic and mystery of creation. Scorpio represents our sexuality and our ability to create entirely new things that never existed before. Scorpio represents our wildness, the part of us that cannot be tamed, the part of us that knows it must be free and must have freedom and must be able to dance under the full moon, right? Naked and barefoot around the fire. This is Scorpio. Scorpio is also what is hidden in our depths and in our shadows. It's the parts of ourselves that maybe we've been afraid to look at, or maybe we've done some work on and we've gone into those shadows within us and we've done some deep healing work. Scorpio is healing, because whenever we engage with any aspect of Scorpio, whether that's the mystery and magic, or whether we engage with our sacred sexuality, or whether we engage with our shadows, healing naturally will occur. Whenever we dare to go into the Scorpio realms, healing will always occur, as long as we go in with the proper intentions and with integrity and seeking truth. Scorpio wants to help us get to the truth. Scorpio wants to help us bring what is hidden out into the light, and wants to help us explore our depths and our wildness. So one piece here that I feel is really important to bring into our attention, into our awareness, is this aspect of Scorpio being our wildness. Because I feel that this new moon is going to bring forward topics in our lives or topics in the collective that are meant to bring us back into connection with our wildness, that are ultimately meant to set us free from all of the constructs, the norms, the rules, the regulations that tie us down, that make us feel like we're put in a cage, that make us feel like we don't have options, that make us feel like we can't fully be ourselves. None of that is what Scorpio wants. And I will say that the asteroid Lilith right here is seconding this. She's saying very strongly, yes, don't submit to what you did not choose. Okay, Scorpio wants us to be free. Scorpio wants us to be always immersed in the wildness of all that we truly are. Okay, so let's talk about this too. The astrology, we always talk about it as related to humans. How is this going to make me feel? How is this going to affect the collective of humanity? Well, Scorpio and truly all of the zodiac signs are not only talking about humans. All of the zodiac signs are representing not only human experience, but the experience of all beings. Okay, so Scorpio represents not just our own wildness, but the wildness of the birds, the trees, the sunlight, our planet, Earth, all of the planets, all of the stars, right? It's the wildness of all things. And so Scorpio ultimately is calling for all things to return to their true power and to the wildness that is inherent in creation itself. So that's what I believe this new moon is going to be about very strongly. It is going to call us back to our power. It is going to call us back to a remembrance of all the power and wildness and magic and mystery that we hold within. Now, this could feel very difficult. And so I want to really bring your attention to this because I think that dramatic events could occur, but how it shows up for you is going to depend on how you relate to that wildness. And the thing about Scorpio is that Scorpio can bring tremendous magic and miracles streaming in. Scorpio can bring mysteries and hidden things into our awareness that will absolutely change our lives in incredibly positive ways. But we must open our hearts to the energy of the wildness and the liberation that Scorpio wants to bring, right? So if you can open your heart to this energy of wildness, just imagine all the mystery and magic you can receive. But if you're holding on to consensus reality, if you're clinging to things that you really, 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 really want to keep stable and steady, and you're not willing to let anything change, that's when there's going to be a shakeup, right? That's when there's going to be a rising up of the wildness within you and around you, and it can feel more difficult at that time. Now, this idea of liberation is also brought into this very powerful chart here. Because of Uranus. So we have the sun and moon here at 20 degrees of Scorpio, and directly opposite that is Uranus at 21 degrees of Taurus. So Uranus represents our liberation. He represents our freedom. Uranus can bring shocking and surprising events to help us get closer to being free. And so Uranus is here in Taurus. Uranus is continuing to do what he's been doing in Taurus ever since he moved into this sign in May of 2018, which is taking the structures, the 3D aspects of our world that we have come to expect to be stable and solid. That's Taurus. And he's been shaking things up. You may have noticed, over these last few years since 2018, that those things which we thought would always be stable and solid have been shaken up, have been changed, structurally changed. And so Uranus is continuing to do that, but we are learning more and more about ourselves as we go through this process. Uranus is getting pretty close to Gemini there. You can see Gemini. Uranus is going to move into Gemini in July of 2025, and that's going to be a really big shift at that time. But for now, Uranus is still in Taurus, and Uranus is directly opposite this new moon. So Uranus has a really strong relationship to the sun and moon during this time. So not only is Scorpio calling for our wildness and our liberation, but Uranus too is calling for our freedom and our liberation from the things which have kept us stuck in the past. All right. So this is very, very strong for our freedom, this whole new moon lineup that we have here. Now, I haven't yet talked about Mars, and Mars is a really important piece of the puzzle here. So Mars is at 22 degrees of Scorpio, very, very close to the sun and moon, and also on the other side here to Ceres. So what does Mars represent in astrology? Now, Mars is a planet, Mars and Saturn both, which we're not talking as much about Saturn today, but Mars and Saturn are considered to be the malefics of astrology, which means that they basically are said to bring bad things. Now, I think that there's a bit of a perspective shift or a bit of a paradigm shift needed here, because none of the planets ever want to do us harm. All of the planets are always working for our highest growth and evolution, and ultimately trying to bring us to our greatest joy and fulfillment. Okay. And again, not just us, not just humans, but also the earth and the birds and the trees and all creatures and all of the other planets out there, right? They're all working for the highest evolution of all things. And I believe that Mars is the same. But Mars is the primordial masculine. Mars is passionate. Mars demands what he wants and needs, and he takes action on it right away without thinking about it too much. And we have deemed this in our modern constructs to be malefic. Isn't that interesting? Well, maybe this Mars here is actually not meant to be malefic at all. Maybe this Mars conjunct the new moon is calling us back into our primordial true essence of who we are, calling us back into our wildness. Mars is in his traditional rulership in Scorpio, in his home sign there. And so, of course, the themes would be similar there too, right? So Mars is also calling us back to our wildness. Mars is calling us back to our primordial nature. Mars is saying, what do you need to take action on in your life without thinking about it too much? Do it. Do it now. Do it with passion. Do it without doubting yourself. Do it with confidence and boldness. This is what this Mars in Scorpio is saying here to us today. And Mars also is directly opposing Uranus. Now, these are really strong energies for this new moon. Okay, so this may feel very, very strong for you in your life, particularly if you have planets or points close to 20 degrees of Scorpio. Okay, so I would say from 15 to 25 degrees of Scorpio. My moon is in there. My moon is in that mix, so I'm included in that. My moon is at 19 degrees of Scorpio. Very, very strong new moon for me, for sure. But you're going to feel this extra strongly. And also, if you have planets or points that are at between 15 to 25 degrees of the water signs, those, if you have planets between 15 to 20 degrees of Pisces, 15 to 25 degrees of Cancer, those will be trine to the new moon. And that is a very favorable aspect to have a trine. And then there will be squares as well. So if you have planets or points between 15 to 25 degrees of Aquarius or Leo, this new moon will be square to those planets in your chart. And that is a more difficult aspect. So there's a lot that could happen here. I do think it's going to feel very strong for all of us. I think it's going to feel intense, maybe dramatic might be the word. But whatever happens, we need to embrace it. Okay. And what I would encourage everybody to do, and how I encourage everybody to approach this new moon, is whatever happens, embrace it as the pathway to your freedom, because that's really what all of these planets are standing for. So the sun and moon in Scorpio, returning us to our wildness, returning us to our true and deep power, returning us to the magic and the mystery that we hold within us. Mars returning us to our primordial nature and our wildness. Uranus opposing all of this, trying to call us back to our freedom, to liberate us. And then we have the asteroid Lilith there calling us to release anything that's been holding us back, release anything that's been placed upon us by others, and move forward in our own unique way. So again, whatever happens, embrace it as the pathway to your freedom. Embrace it as your pathway to your reclamation of your wildness. Embrace it as the reactivation of your own true and deep power. And when you do so, you will be able to receive the blessings of this transit, which will be very profound. When we're talking about Scorpio, there's nothing surface level there. Okay, there's nothing that's just going to be, meaningless or pointless. It's going to be really, really powerful what we can receive from this transit. And I feel that this new moon is going to be a time that we're going to look back on later on and realize, wow, that was the moment when everything began to change. And that was a moment when we really shifted our reality to come back into alignment with all the power we truly hold, all the wildness that is wanting to break free from us, okay, and guide us forward into the future. And all the forces of creation that we hold, that are a part of us, that we naturally want to express, and we've been holding back for so long, we've been stuffing inside for so long, for all of that to really be able to break free. And I do feel that this is going to be a turning point for all of us individually and collectively, this new moon in Scorpio. It's really big. You know, this is the power and the alchemy of Scorpio, to create great transformation, to bring us back into alignment with truth, but to take the truths that have been hidden and bring them back out into the light so that we can be transformed with them, so that we can remember what's really true, so we can remember what's been hidden inside of us for so long, and maybe we've been afraid to look at, or maybe we didn't even know it was there, right? So really embrace whatever moves through for you during this time. It's going to be something very important for each of us in our lives. And as I mentioned, particularly if you have planets or points between 15 to 20 degrees of the water signs, or Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, or Taurus, going to be very, very extra strong for those of us with planets or points there. I have my sun at 18 degrees of Leo and my moon at 19 degrees of Scorpio. So I know it's going to be very strong for me. And so I really invite you to go ahead and write in the comments now, what's moving for you as I share this? What is coming up for you? And what is it that you would love to see happen now that you know the energies of this new moon? I really think it's important for us to ask ourselves, what does freedom look like to me? What does liberation look like to me in my life? What is the kind of freedom or liberation that I am most deeply needing? And what's standing in the way of that freedom? Because this new moon has the potential to allow you to break free from whatever's been standing in the way of your true liberation. I also think with this new moon, there's going to be a lot happening on the subconscious levels. So we may not consciously be able to track every single thing that's going on. And again, I think this is one where we're going to look back at it and understand more later all the inner workings that were happening, all the tectonic plates that were shifting at these moments in time. And so we may not be able to cognitively, with the mind, fully grasp all that's going on. And so again, and this is always the request with Scorpio, we want to trust and surrender. We want to really embrace whatever it is that comes up. We want to thank it, welcome it, and see it as a pathway to your freedom. I had a very, very interesting moment of coming up with the title for this video, which is the underwater door to your freedom and your wildness, because Scorpio is such a strong water sign. I mean, all of the water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, they're very intense. Because in the water signs, we're dealing with our depths. We're working with our emotions. We're working with what might be hidden below the surface layers. That is a really important part of who we are. And so if you have emotions coming up strongly during this new moon, allow those emotions to be expressed. This is what Mars wants. Remember that primordial masculine? Right? He's not going to hold back. He's going to scream or yell or cry or whatever is needed. Same thing with the asteroid Lilith. She's not going to hold back. She's going to express it. And so I think that's a big invitation from this new moon. Really allow yourself to express whatever's coming through. Express the intensity of it. Our emotions are messages from the body telling us things that the mind doesn't know yet or can't fully comprehend yet. So it is really important to work with our emotions, and that's what the water signs help us to do. So in any case, the underwater door to your freedom and your liberation, that's how I see this new moon. And I hope that you will find this helpful. Now, I have something really exciting to share with you because I have a special guest who's going to be coming on. And so actually, special guest, if you're watching, go ahead and pop on in. I know you are. I know it's a little earlier than we said, but go ahead and pop on in. And I would love to see you here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we have somebody who's going to be joining us here today. And I'm going to welcome her in a minute. And I'm sure she's getting connected in. So while we're waiting, please write in the comments, right in the chat on YouTube, what you are feeling now, what's coming up for you, and what is your ideal vision of freedom in your life? What is your ideal vision of your own liberation, and what is standing in the way of that? I would love to see you write that in the chat. Okay, welcome, Cynthia. Hi.
Hi, Jocelyn. So good to see you. Thank you for the invitation to join you today.
Yeah, it's so good to be here with you as always. So wonderful to be in your presence. So thank you for joining us. And everybody, this is Cynthia, and she gives the most amazing astrology readings for the Sacred Planet community. And she has studied many different branches of astrology and mythology, and she'll tell us a little bit more about what's especially coming up for her and on her mind right now. But I just want to say we received the most beautiful, glowing testimonials from people who have had readings with Cynthia, and she does so much more than astrology as well. So in any case, Cynthia, it's so wonderful to have you here with us. How are you today?
Thank you, Jocelyn. Yes, thank you for this beautiful presentation of this scorpionic forces. I feel like Pluto has been just so present with us, especially since June and the retrograde began. And it has just been about truly connecting to that energy of the underworld, the energy of the Scorpio, the energy, of course, of Pluto, Hades, and of course, just bringing me back to that ceremony that we did for Sacred Planet. You know, just as you were mentioning right now, surrendering, creating those offerings, being in tune with the gratitude for the processes, and just truly going into the season of the eclipses in October. And even more now into November, as Mars is in Scorpio, to just truly, truly, truly surrender to these energies as necessary forces of death and rebirth and creation. So thank you so much for that, Jocelyn.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cynthia, would you like to say a little bit more about Pluto square the nodes? Because I know this is something that's been on your mind a lot, and you have things mirroring this in your own birth chart. So you're really familiar with the energetics of it. So what do we need to know about this? Pluto square the nodes, it's been going on throughout most of 2023. Yes. And clearly we're still feeling it now.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Yes, absolutely. So for me, how I have felt it personally, I mean, of course, with Pluto squaring the nodes and the rulership of Mars and Venus in Libra, Mars in Aries, to me, it has felt like this moment of soul, everything that you were describing right now, and the going of Pluto and Scorpio and just going into the underground and meeting the shadow, it truly has been like that, a journey of the soul. I feel at a collective level, just truly being in touch with those deep, deep, deep parts inside us that invite us to like go in, look for the shadows and turn them into transformation. And they have been deep moments of intensity, I have to say, you know, just the whole month of October has felt almost like being in a cocoon, just truly, truly embracing that process, understanding that it's necessary. But just looking forward to like now as Pluto begins to separate from that precise square, just looking forward to this time in which it almost is like a release of these energies, I feel. And so for me, again, at a deep level, I felt it. I'm actually right now is like Pluto is at 28 degrees of Capricorn. It is precisely squaring my node. So I'm just kind of like inviting these energies to come in. It's been wonderful to be with your beautiful audience, the Sacred Planet audience, and working with them through these squares and oppositions, especially people who are going through this right now. If you have Aries and Libra on your nodes, or even Leo and Aquarius, sometimes they're feeling it in different ways. And of course, Cancer and Capricorn are feeling it as well. I think you're muted, Jocelyn.
Yes. So yes. I was saying I want to bring up a chart just to show everybody what we mean by when we say Pluto squaring the nodes. Yes. And fortunately, this is starting to lighten up already. But what we mean by that is you can see Pluto is here at 28 degrees of Capricorn right now. Pluto's going to be moving into Aquarius once again soon. or I'm sorry, this is actually as of the new moon day. Okay, because that's the chart I had up. And so on that day, the south node will be at 24 degrees of Libra, and the north node will be at 24 degrees of Aries. Okay. And so if these were at 28 degrees of Aries and Libra, they'd be exactly square to Pluto. But the nodes are moving backwards. So they're moving out of that square slowly, slowly. It is lightening up, but this is an energy that's been with us through most of the year, starting especially strongly in around May. Mm-hmm. And it's created huge amount of tension. And like you said, Cynthia, that death and rebirth journey being really, really apparent in our lives and in our world. Yes.
It truly is. It's been an intense fall, of course, as we've witnessed through so many of the world events. It is intense to see, intense to watch, intense to feel, but at the same time, just in any way that we can, just honoring those processes, as you were so beautifully pointing out, this new moon, and as we come to that energy of Scorpio, which is very much guarded by Pluto right there in the background, we feel him there in the new moon in Scorpio, especially as you were mentioning over here, Uranus and Taurus, and how it's sending that energy of breakthrough and revolution. But it also feels, because it's Uranus, such an energy of that Kundalini life force, that electrical force, kind of like lighting up that new moon for the transformation and the activation. And I also feel that it is almost like a precursor. It's like inviting us to shed and release and truly let go, as you were saying, of everything that feels heavy, truly coming to this time to release. As like after the Scorpio and Taurus eclipse on the 28th, it opened this gateway of scorpionic energy in November, because this is all helping us shed as Pluto enters Aquarius in January. And it is that combination again of Aquarius and Scorpio. Yeah. Just like Uranus is sending all of that energy to that Scorpio full moon, I feel it's all preparing us for that entry and inviting us to truly let go of what is heavy and what is weighing us down from our transformation. So this is really, really such a wonderful time to continue this inner process, to go deeply in as far as we can go, to truly find what we're ready to let go of and what is no longer going to serve our journey of contribution to the collective. I also feel, Jocelyn, that as we transmute and transform these energies inside us that Pluto's inviting us to transform, we contribute to the collective by doing that. Any heavy emotions that we might be feeling, grief, anger, sometimes resentment, and in many cases, rage, the collective rage, it's an opportunity to alchemize all of that and transform it, because as we do that in the microcosm, we contribute to the macrocosm evolution and transmutation of those energies as well.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Cynthia. And I see this new moon as just so transformational, because the asteroid Lilith is there, Mars is there, Uranus is there. You know, there are so many agents there that are calling for alchemy, you know, that are calling for this transformation that we can feel rising up within us. And I feel like at this new moon, there's just such a huge potential for healing, like healing, you know, 20 generations back, right? Like multiple timelines of healing being possible right now. And I think it's a huge invitation for all of us to really lean into that and welcome that and embrace that in the ways that we can. And we're also, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Yeah, just taking deep breaths, really taking deep breaths, you know, to just accept, surrender to this intensity. I also feel it's quite symbolic that, as you were pointing out, Ceres, Demeter, is right there in Scorpio, in the sign of Pluto. So in a way, just kind of like even herself, she is working with that scorpionic energy and in harmonious aspect to Pluto. So it's like the seasons, the cycles, the necessary transformation, the necessary death and rebirth. Even Ceres, Demeter, is there guarding the whole process with understanding, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're moving toward this huge moment of opportunity, this huge moment to take a big leap into the future, which is coming in April 2024, as Jupiter and Uranus are going to come together right here where Uranus is now for this new moon at 21 degrees of Taurus. And that is a moment to take a big leap and to know that you are held and protected. So I really welcome everybody too to think about this new moon as a time to let go any of those last things that have been holding you back, any of those last burdens, any of those last things you've felt attached to, or you're clinging to, or you want them to stay the same, but the universe is trying to help you change it. Really let it go, because we're being guided toward this moment where we can do things we never even thought possible, where we can take those big leaps that we've been dreaming of and we didn't think we could do. And it's, Scorpio is so much about alchemy. And so it's a great moment to say the alchemical prayer as well. And the alchemical prayer is, Dear Universe, hold on, I'm forgetting it as I'm on the spot here. Dear Universe, please send me everything that I need and most deeply desire that I do not even yet know is possible. Dear Universe, please send me everything that I need and most deeply desire that I do not even yet know is possible. And I really recommend going outside and putting your hands up to the sun or up to the stars, whether you're out in the day or the night, and say that prayer 3 times to the universe and just let that go out. You will receive the most miraculous gifts back. And so this Scorpio new moon is an amazing time to do that kind of alchemy.
So thank you for that guidance, Jocelyn. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's going to be an intense month with all of these scorpionic energies, but truly just surrendering to the magic of it all, as you so beautifully said as well. It is a magical process. It's a process of transformation, and truly looking forward to, the rebirth processes, which feel so joyful as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what else do you have to share with us, Cynthia, today? I am just so glad that you've joined us. So what else is on your mind or in your heart that you would like to share with the community?
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. So just truly, again, expressing gratitude to the Sacred Planet community, thanking the beautiful Sacred Planet community for your trust, for your openness, for allowing me to work with you and be of support to you during these transits. I quite heavily understand what they feel like. They've been quite intense for me since June of this year. And I would look forward to being of support to you during this time, especially right now as we lead into November. And we are given this opportunity to continue to work. So, as you know, thanks to your teachings, Jocelyn, I'm able to provide the alchemical astrology readings in the traditions of the Hermetic healing arts and ancient Egypt. And then, of course, we bring in the ancient Mayans with the cacao, and then, of course, the Incas with the shamanic healing arts. So if I may be of support to you in those realms, please reach out. I'm here for you. I would look forward to being of support to you during this time. Again, from a place of deep empathy, because I know how intense these energies have been. Thank you.
Yes, truly, truly.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to share my screen and show everybody, and I will put this link in the YouTube description field so you'll be easily able to get to it. But if you go to this page on my website, you'll see all of the options for having alchemical astrology readings with Cynthia. And I just want to show you a little bit about this. Here's a little bit about why alchemical astrology. Here's a fun video that Cynthia and I made while we were in Peru together in April. That just feels like lifetimes ago, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
But we had so much fun there.
Yeah.
So you can get a 60-minute alchemical astrology reading, and you can choose which you would like to focus on out of these amazing topics here. Or a 90-minute alchemical astrology reading to work with your challenges and shadows, which is so powerful during this Scorpio time while the sun is in Scorpio and many other planets are in Scorpio, supporting us to work with our shadows for deep, deep healing. And so that's another option. And then you could choose level 3, which you get 2 whole hours with Cynthia, and you will receive an alchemical astrology reading and a personalized cacao ceremony. Would you like to say a little bit more about this reading, Cynthia, and what you see people receiving when they have this kind of reading with you?
Thank you, Jocelyn. Yes, well, when we go into the level 3 and level 4 reading, of course, the level 1 and level 2 readings are very, very healing. They're very healing at a psychological level, mind level, and there's so many shifts that happen when you do the level 1 or level 2 readings. When we go into the level 3, of course, then we tune into the guiding forces of the spirit of cacao. We also use sound frequency, sound vibration, which is specific to your natal placements. So it is a healing journey in itself. In addition to what happens at a mind level, it's also happening at a heart level and at an emotional level by the healing frequencies as well. That's for the level 3.
Yes. And then level 4 includes all of the above. So astrology reading plus cacao and a chakra illumination healing session. So can you tell us a little more about that chakra illumination session?
Yes, of course, Jocelyn. Thank you. So as you said, it includes everything of the above. So you would get the deep chart reading, like the level 2. We would incorporate, of course, the healing energies of cacao. And then at that moment, we also incorporate the chakra illumination, which is an ancient tradition of healing from the Andean traditions of Peru. So with that, it's like as we look into your Chiron, we look into your woundings, we work to release that wounding from your energetic imprint and from your emotional field so that you can reset your system and feel fresh, as you have seen guidance from your map, as you know more now what the highest potential is of your chart, your challenges, where to focus, and you can direct your attention to where you want to be from a place of resetting of your energetic system. So that is, of course, a full healing journey. And it's wonderful to see the response and the reviews. And I feel so grateful every time I'm able to do a level 4 reading. I feel grateful anytime I'm able to do any reading in support, of course, of the Sacred Planet community. But the level 4 reading is just allowing for that, going like a full circle around the medicine wheel. So it feels like almost a very complete session, and it empowers you to begin that journey from a place of clarity, full clarity.
Amazing. Amazing. And the thing for me that always, every time that I give an astrology reading, my mind is blown every single time, right? I'm sure you feel the same, because the depths of what is revealed and the mythological story of a person's life and a person's own hero or heroine's journey is revealed. And we tap into the bigger reasons, the bigger, deeper meaning of why all of this is happening, so that you can approach it in a completely different way than what you could before having that knowledge. And so I feel that when we're in these intense times, coming out of October, where so much has happened, moving into this new moon in Scorpio, it's just such an important time to receive something like this, to be held, to be supported, to get a new perspective, to be able to see it from a different, like a different paradigm. Like you're looking at it from a different dimension once you get an astrology reading, because you see so much more of the meaning and the reasons behind it and the soul longings that have brought you to this point and where to go from here for your highest good. So it's just incredible. Is there anything you would want to add to that?
Thank you, Jocelyn. So beautifully said, as always. And it's exactly that, just this beautiful opportunity, honor, privilege to hold space, to be there fully present for someone as they are tuning into their specific journey, and just holding that space with love, with empathy, with compassion for the journey, especially during these times. So it truly is that, just holding space with love, and just especially, again, during this new moon, during this month, during everything that's happening. And with that said, Jocelyn, thank you for allowing me to offer this opportunity, understanding how people are responding to this, how wonderfully healing it's been. During our cacao ceremony in September, we offer this opportunity for people and for the community to do this at 33% off level 3 and level 4 readings. So we would like, knowing of the energies that are coming in November, to extend this opportunity to do this again. It will be my joy to be with you for this full healing journey if you decide to do the level 3 and level 4 reading. And we're extending this discount, Alchemy 33, for, of course, a limited amount of time so that people can jump into that opportunity. And again, it would be my honor. I understand what this feels like. I understand the intensity. So it would just be my honor to help you navigate this intensity, to be there with you, and for us to navigate it together as we truly go through this together. We're really just holding space for each other during this fall and into December. Yeah. And looking forward to January, of course, but really holding space for each other for the next month and the next couple of months.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So we'll put that code and the link in the description field here below this YouTube video as soon as the recording is complete. But if you come here and click on the level 3 or level 4 buttons to purchase, and then you can put in the code Alchemy 33, you will get 33% off, which is an amazing savings. And also you can scroll down here and read the testimonials from other amazing people who have had beautiful readings with Cynthia, and just get a little more of an idea of what you might experience during a reading, which is so wonderful. And then here's a little more about Cynthia. And so you can come here and learn more about her background and how she came to study astrology and other amazing topics, mythology and all different things. So yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that's what I'll mention right now at the end, which we were having this conversation the other day, that what is such a joy about reading a mythological chart or an astral chart, a birth chart, is precisely the possibility of reading it at a mythological level, at a mythopoetic level, and just incorporating all of that wisdom from the mythology and the wisdom of mythology into chart readings, which is what I enjoy doing so much, just as you do, Jocelyn. So that background in art history, mythology, symbolism, for me, reading a chart, opening that space always feels just like, as you decode the chart, it's just like you're decoding this beautiful painting, this beautiful work of art. So just that experience and looking at art, taking a look at art, decoding the symbolism, understanding what it means for our subconscious is the same experience that I see or feel when I'm reading a chart. So thank you again for this opportunity to offer these readings. It's been such a gift to be able to do this with you, for you, and for the Sacred Planet community, Jocelyn. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Cynthia. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us and changing people's lives in these readings. It's so wonderful. And that mythological aspect, it's so important to bring that in. So I'm so glad that you do that, and you feel it, you do it with passion and joy and love. And it's really every one of the symbols on a chart, the glyphs for the planets and asteroids and everything, is its own mythological character. So who is Venus in your birth chart, and how is she here to help you evolve and guide you and support you and protect you? And then who is Mars in your birth chart, and how is he guiding and supporting and protecting you? It's so powerful to find out, and these are really the hidden keys and codes of our own sacred geometrical blueprint, as part of the universe. So it's just fascinating to unlock.
So fascinating, Jocelyn. Just exactly as you said, it's an archetypal universe. These are like the patterns, the forces of love, the forces of willpower, the forces of evolution, the forces of communication, these impulses that are in the universe that are symbolically encoded in a chart, and you can perceive them as energies and where they're trying to express themselves through you. These beautiful archetypes. So it's just the chart, when you open it, it just starts speaking by itself, and it's there, ready to talk to you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So for those who are feeling called, go ahead and click on that link below and use the code alchemy33. Just keep in mind that will work on the level 3 and 4 readings. It won't work on the level 1 and 2 readings right now at this time. We really want to get you that full support of the level 3 and level 4. And enjoy your reading with Cynthia. If you're feeling called, really listen to that voice within, listen to your heart if it feels right for you. It's really meant to be and will be so helpful for you on your journey.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I think with that, we'll close our call for today, Cynthia. Thank you for being the special guest here.
Thank you for having me. Such a joy to see you always, Jocelyn. Thank you. Thank you. Sending you lots of blessings as you navigate these windows and the intensity of what this new moon is going to feel for you, but may it be so beautifully empowering and transformative, and may it connect you with everything, even more than you're bringing to the community and to the world. Thank you. And to everybody here listening, I would love, love, love to be with you, get to know you, and again, just hold space for you and be with you during this time. Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. And yes, same to you, Cynthia. May it be a really powerful, beautiful time for you too during this new moon. And to everybody out there, I'm sending you all so much love. Remember that whatever comes up for you during this new moon, embrace it as the doorway to your freedom, and see how that shifts things, see how that changes things, and what new understandings can come in for you. And I'm sending lots and lots of love from my heart to yours. I'll see you all again soon. And many blessings to you all. Mwah. Bye for now. Bye, Cynthia.